Hello student, in our previous video we have discussed about the some basic parts which is related to the classical mechanics, or these all are the basic concepts which is very important for the classical mechanics. And also in that we have discussed what do you mean by physics, what are the different branches of the physics, especially we studied about the mechanics, and again there are two main types of the mechanics, that is a classical mechanics and quantum mechanics. And further the classical mechanics is divided into three types, that is a statistics, dynamics and kinematics. These all are the three main branches of the classical mechanics. And in classical mechanics only there is a study of macroscopic objects, but in quantum mechanics there is a study of microscopic objects. But we will study only classical mechanics. And also classical mechanics has three different branches: kinematics, statistics and dynamics. In a kinematics there is a study of motion without consideration of the causes of the motion, and in statistics the system must be in a equilibrium, or the forces acting on a particular object must be in a equilibrium. And in dynamics the study of the forces acting on a moving bodies. So these are all the three main branches of the classical mechanics. And also we have discussed about the three main Newton's law of motions. First law is the law of inertia, second law is force is equal to mass into acceleration, and third law is action is equal to reaction. So these all are the basic part of the classical, this is all about the basic part of the classical mechanics. Now in this video we will start with our syllabus, that is our first chapter of our course classical mechanics, and our subject code is PHCT 112. The first module is the analytical dynamics, and this module must include Lagrangian and Hamiltonian dynamics, canonical transformation and Poisson brackets. And we have total 4 credits for whole course classical mechanics, and we have 3 modules in our syllabus. First module is analytical dynamics, and for the first module there are 2 credits, and for second module there are 1 credit, and for third module also for 1 credit. So total credit are 4 credits for our course, that is a classical mechanics. Now let's start with the first chapter, that is a analytical dynamics. And in that first we will discuss about some concepts which are related to the classical mechanics, or which are very useful for the classical mechanics course, that is a constraint, degree of freedom, different types of the constraint, also the generalized coordinate, generalized momenta, generalized velocity. These all are the basic concepts which are useful in a classical mechanics for analytical dynamics. So let's start with the constraint. In a classical mechanics, a constraint on a system is a parameter that the system must obey. That means if we consider particular system, that is a circle, and we know that there are 2 polar coordinates are sufficient to describe the motion of the, or the only just circle, that is r and theta. In a circle r is a constant and theta is varying, that is from 0 to 360 degree. So the constraint is a parameter that the system must obey. Suppose we take this circle. For this circle the radius must be constant, but theta may vary from 0 to 360. So on the circle system there is a restriction on the radius, that is radius must be constant. So this is the constraint on the system. Sometimes motion of a particle or a system of a particle is restricted by one or more condition. Same like in a circle the radius must be constant, so this is the restricted by one condition in a circle. The limitation on the motion of the system are called constraint. In short, there is a limitation on a particular system and this system is called as a system with a constraint, or simply we called it as a constraint. The number of coordinates needed to specify the dynamical system becomes smaller when a constraint are present in the system. We know that for a particular system, for the study of the particular system, we require the coordinates, or with the help of coordinates we can study the system, and sometimes we can express the particular system in a equation form with the help of the coordinates. Suppose we take again the example of circle. In a circle there are main two coordinates, that is a polar coordinates r and theta, but in a circle radius is a constant, that is suppose we take radius is a, that is r is equal to a must be constant, and there is a variation in a theta angle. So there are two dynamical variables in a circle system, but r is a constant, so we only using the theta coordinate we can able to describe the system, that is a with the help of constraint we can reduce the coordinate. So in a circle there is a only one coordinate, that is a theta is a sufficient to describe the system. For example, a box sliding down a slope must remain on the slope. Suppose we take a slope and on that there is a box, and this box is sliding on that slope, and the condition is that it must remain on the slope. So this is the condition or constraint for that box, for the motion of that box. So this is the example of constraint. Second example is the motion of a rigid body restricted by the condition that the distance between the any of two particles remains unchanged. We know that what do you mean by the rigid body. In a rigid body there are different particles, but the distance between the particles must be same in the rigid body. So it is a different from the normal bodies due to that property. So in a rigid body there is a restriction in a particle distance. So this is the constraint on the rigid body. There are different types of constraint based on the four criteria, namely, again constraint is classified into different types, and generally these are the four criteria. These four criteria as first is the whether they are time independent or time dependent, that is either scleronomic or rheonomic. If the constraint is depend on time, then the constraint is the rheonomic constraint, and if the constraint is independent of time, then the constraint is the scleronomic constraint. Second criteria is the whether they are integrable algebraic relations among the coordinates or non-integrable ones, that is either holonomic or non-holonomic. Suppose we have a particular constraint on a particular system, and we can able to express this system with the constraint in the form of integrable algebraic relations, then this system or this constraint is known as the holonomic constraint. If we are not able to express this constraint in the form of integrable algebraic equations, that is this is the non-integrable ones, so this constraint is known as the non-holonomic constraint. Third criteria is the whether they are conservative or dissipative or non-conservative. In a particular system, if we consider the system with a constraint, then if in the system the mechanical energy is conserved, then the constraint on the system must be conservative constraint, and if the mechanical energy of the system does not conserve, then the constraint is the dissipative constraint. Fourth criteria is the whether they are algebraic equations or algebraic inequalities, that is either bilateral or unilateral. That means if we consider particular constraint on a system, if we are able to express this system in the form of algebraic equation, then this constraint is known as the bilateral constraint, and if we are able to express in the form of inequalities, then this constraint is the unilateral constraint. So these all are the 4 different criteria on which the constraint is classified into different types. First, we will see the first criteria, that is the first is the whether they are time independent or time dependent, that is either scleronomic or rheonomic. So first we see the scleronomic constraint. The constraint which are independent of time are called scleronomic constraint. Already we mentioned, if the constraint is independent of time, that means if we consider a particular system and in that system there is no time parameter, that means the system is independent of time, then this type of constraint is known as the scleronomic constraint. For example, a bead sliding on a rigid curved wire fixed in a space. Suppose we take a rigid curved wire and which is fixed in a space. We know that for in a space we require, if we consider 2 dimension, then and if we consider 3 dimension, we require 3 space coordinate, that is x, y, z, and on the rigid curved wire there is a bead sliding. So this is the example of the constraint which is a time independent. It only depend on the space coordinate system, that is if we consider space coordinates. Second type is the rheonomic constraint. The constraint which contain time explicitly are called rheonomic constraint. That is, in a particular constraint or system, if we consider the motion of the body or any instrument or anything which is time dependent, so this is known as, this type of constraint is known as the rheonomic constraint. If we consider the example of simple pendulum, that is first example is a bead sliding on a rigid curved wire moving in a some prescribed fashion. In scleronomic constraint the example is same, but the rigid curved wire is in a space, but in a rheonomic constraint the rigid curved wire in a some prescribed fashion, so that it must be include the parameter time, so it is a time dependent constraint. Second example, if we construct a simple pendulum whose length changes with the time, that is L is a function of L of t, that is length is a function of time, then the constraint expressed by the equation are time dependent and hence the constraint is a rheonomic constraint. Suppose we take a simple pendulum. We know that simple pendulum and it has a particular length. Suppose we take or we can vary the length with respect to time, then this type of the constraint is known as the rheonomic constraint. So these all are the 2 types of the constraint, that is a scleronomic constraint and rheonomic constraint, which are based on the whether the constraint is a time dependent or time independent. Now the second criteria we will discuss in our next video. So we will continue with that in our next video.